This can't be real.
What would you do if the two people you trusted with your life decided to destroy it together? I didn't hear it from them. I saw it when I wasn't meant to. Amara had always believed her life was carefully planned. Every step, every decision, every relationship. So when she casually opened WhatsApp that evening, she never imagined her world would end in silence. She had been scrolling through statuses absent-mindedly, until one image stopped her breath. Amara stared at her phone, blinking slowly, as though her eyes might suddenly correct whatever the image on the screen refused to change. Her best friend stood there in a wedding outfit, smiling with a softness Amara had never seen before. And standing beside her was the man Amara was supposed to marry. Her head rested comfortably on the chest of Michael. They were not standing apart. They were not posing stiffly. They were comfortable, familiar, intimate. Her fingers trembled as she stared at the screen. Amara's heart began to race, but her mind rejected the truth forming quietly in her chest.
A joke or something.
This had to be a joke, a misunderstanding, anything but the truth. Her best friend had said she was traveling home for her aunt's wedding. She had complained about the stress, the long ceremonies, the poor network. Her fiancé had kissed her goodbye just days earlier, reminding her he would be in Turkey for business. 2 weeks. That was what he said. So why were they standing together, cuddled up, smiling like nothing had ever existed before them? Why were they dressed like two people who had already chosen forever? Unless they had twins she had never heard of. The thought sounded foolish even as it crossed her mind. But desperation clings to impossibilities when reality becomes unbearable. Her heart pounded violently as she reached for her second phone. She missed the screen twice before finally dialing the number she knew by heart. Dialing their numbers over and over again. Busy. Her breathing grew shallow as panic crept in. Slow and steady, like water filling a closed room. The silence was louder than any explanation. She messaged the person who posted the status, hoping, praying, that this was all a cruel mistake. Her fingers shook, but she forced them to move. Please tell me this is a joke. The reply came moments later. It's not a joke. They got married today. They are still at the reception. In that moment, the room spun. Her vision blurred, and everything went dark. Amara did not know how long she lay there. Fate, however, had its own timing. Her sister had arrived earlier that day, an unplanned visit. One that would save her life. She found Amara on the floor, motionless, the phone still glowing beside her. Panic replaced confusion as she rushed her sister to the hospital. Fear tightening her chest with every second that passed. When Amara finally woke up, the first thing she felt was warmth. Arms wrapped tightly around her, refusing to let go. And in that moment, the truth came pouring out. The pictures, the lies, the betrayal. Her sister listened silently, heart heavy, but unsurprised. Because deep down, she had always known. She had warned Amara countless times that the friendship demanded too much, that loyalty should never be one-sided. And now, as Amara broke down in her arms, her sister held her tighter. Not to say, I told you so, but to say, you are not alone. The nurse called it stress-induced collapse. But Amara knew better. This was grief. This was betrayal. This was the slow death of trust. And as she lay there, memories flooded back. Amara had known Fiona since secondary school. They had grown up together. Shared dreams, laughter, secrets. Fiona was always the bold one. Outgoing. Fearless. Amara was quiet, reserved, loyal to a fault. It was Fiona who dragged her to parties. Fiona who convinced her to bend rules. During tests, during exams. Amara covered for her more times than she could count. She knew the risks, but she believed loyalty was proof of love. As the saying goes, a friend in need is a friend indeed. She never imagined that loyalty would later become the very thing used against her. It was during her third year. The architecture department selected a few students to represent the school at a national conference. Amara almost declined. Fiona didn't allow it.
This is your chance to shine. You have to go to this conference. It's going to be incredible for your future.
That conference changed everything. Michael was one of the keynote speakers. A renowned architect. Calm. Charismatic. Brilliant. After her presentation, he approached her.
Concepts are impressive. You think differently.
She blushed. That was how it started. Coffee meetings. Long conversations. Professional advice that slowly turned personal. They became friends. The day Amara told Fiona she had a boyfriend, Fiona screamed again.
An architect? Of course! You people marry buildings.
When Michael finally met Fiona, he smiled politely.
She talks about you all the time.
Only good things, I hope.
Amara didn't notice how Fiona studied him. Didn't notice how her laughter lingered. Didn't notice how her questions were too curious. Trust blinds the kind-hearted. There were signs. Small ones. Michael suddenly knowing details Amara never told him.
I heard your mother's shop is expanding.
How did you know that? I never told you.
Fiona suddenly unavailable when Amara needed her most. Text messages replied too late. Calls unanswered. But love explains away what logic questions. You're overthinking, Amara would tell herself. After all, this was Fiona. Weeks after leaving the hospital, she returned home, but nothing felt familiar. Every corner reminded her of laughter she could no longer trust. Every silence echoed with questions that had no answers. What hurt the most was not just what she saw. It was what followed. No call. No explanation. No apology. That silence was deliberate. And that realization hurt more than the pictures ever did. One evening, weeks later, Amara sat alone, staring at her phone. The pain had not disappeared, but it had changed. It no longer screamed. It whispered. I deserve answers, she said quietly. Not forgiveness. Not reconciliation. Just the truth. She sent one message. Amara, I know everything. I just want to understand how. The reply came hours later. Michael, if you really want to know, let's meet and talk. They met in a quiet cafe far from familiar places. A place with no memories attached. Michael arrived first. Fiona came later. She looked thinner. Quieter. For the first time in years, Fiona couldn't meet Amara's eyes. Amara noticed that. And
so now you know how to be silent.
This isn't easy.
Neither was watching my life collapse on a phone screen. Speak.
It started the day you introduced us.
Amara's fingers curled. That day, Fiona nodded slowly.
You were so proud of him. I noticed how he looked at you, and I wondered what it felt like to be chosen like that.
She reached out later, asked questions about architecture, about work.
So you answered.
I didn't think it meant anything.
I did.
Amara listened as the story unfolded. How Fiona would visit Michael when Amara was busy with deadlines. How Michael would call Fiona when Amara was unavailable. How they used Amara's trust as camouflage.
You never suspected because you never doubted us.
That sentence landed like a slap.
So my loyalty made it easier. You trusted us blindly.
Amara exhaled sharply.
And you both punished me for it.
We planned carefully. Business trips weren't always real. Conferences overlapped with Fiona's family events.
I knew how to sound convincing because I'd watched you lie for me before.
That single sentence. Amara realized something horrifying. Every time she had covered up for Fiona, she had taught her how to deceive. The room felt smaller.
So I trained my own replacement.
No one answered.
The wedding?
We didn't want drama.
So you married behind my back. I was scared you'd convince him to leave.
Do you know what hurts the most? Not that you betrayed me,
But that you studied me long enough to know exactly how to break me.
She stood up, turned and walked away. No slap. No shouting. No scene. That silence was her power. 2 months later, Amara relocated. New city. New space. New air. People called it running. But Amara knew better. You don't heal in the same place that shattered you. Nights were still hard. Trust felt dangerous. Every kindness felt suspicious. She stopped explaining her pain to people who hadn't earned the truth. Opening up wasn't romantic. It was terrifying. She flinched at promises. Questioned intentions. Pulled away when things felt good. But she learned that boundaries are not cruelty. That peace is not selfishness. And that choosing herself was not abandonment, it was survival. I didn't lose love, Amara narrates calmly. I lost illusions. And in losing them, I found myself. Now, I choose my happiness first, without apology. Please like and subscribe for more engaging stories.